Hello and welcome to my Master's Degree Week 31 blog. Saying Week 31, I can't get over it. This year has just gone by so quick, it's just ridiculous. And it's hard to think that my next blog is I'm going to be into the middle of the final major project, which I'll speak to you about later. So health-wise, thankfully, COVID is behind me. There is a bit of brain fog left, but I'm just putting that down to to old age. So everything's all good, thanks. And I've keep asking you for updates, or I've been giving you updates for yesterday's news, the album that was made up of some of my earlier assignments. Well, the course is just so full on. I just haven't had any time to work on it. So, to be perfectly honest, with the major project coming up very soon, that album is not going to get released until the early part of next year. So anyway, that's something to look forward to, and it's something for me to look forward to putting together. In the last blog, I was giving you some updates about we were nearing the mixing phase, which they were all submitted, got some great feedback, and I was awarded a merit, which is great, and just a few % off a distinction. So really pleased with the result and feedback of that. I was also doing the lyric writing. Remember, if that was about my hobbies of fishing, golf, and music. And for the practices, I had a pass. And then I had a pass for the next one, so I thought, okay, that's fine, you know, pass or a merit would be great. And then, to my absolute amazement, I was awarded a distinction. So that gave me a great boost in confidence that for somebody who hasn't really written lyrics, to be given that sort of accolade is great. So that was really good news. I also updated you about we were hitting the academic phase, and the first essay was about divorce. And that's a practice, so it doesn't actually count for my final score. But bear in mind, I never got past O-levels back in the 1970s, so you know, writing has not been my forte. And I was awarded a distinction, so it's like, whoa, where's that one come from? So yeah, I'm really pleased. So I'm in the middle of writing my final essay, which is another step up, because the last one was 2,500 words. This is 5,000. So. But it's a really interesting one, I think, and basically what I have to do is discuss what has made a track go from a demo to its final master, and how has that impacted the the musician or the group. And I decided to do In the Air Tonight, because I found the original demo that Phil Collins wrote in 1980, and then obviously was be able to compare it to the album. And it's been quite interesting doing some of the research, and I'll give you an example of what sort of things research can throw up, because on the album cover, which you'll see on the screen now, and all the artwork and all the handwriting is actually Phil Collins, because he wanted to make this his album, because it literally was his first solo album, and the record company gave him total artistic control, which was really interesting. And so he sent out the mix to go to the first mastering, which was Sterling, which is in New York, which is what you're seeing on screen now. But that's not actually who mastered it, because he wasn't happy with the results that came back, so he sent it to London, which we believe is Townhouse, which is actually an element of the studios where he recorded the whole album, Face Value, that In the Air Tonight came from, along with producer Hugh Padgham. And he wasn't happy with that either, so he was listening to Earth, Wind and Fire and the Jacksons, and he really liked the sound of them, and noticed that on the sleeve that they'd been mastered at the mastering lab in LA. So he got Mike Reese to do the actual Michael Reese to do the mastering there, and was really happy with the results. So that's what he approved. And again, through further research, it was found out that if you look at an LP, and I'll put a photograph up on screen as I'm discussing this, is that where the grooves finish and the area between where the grooves finish and the label is called the dead wax. And in the dead wax, there's various symbols, but what I didn't realise is in there is that quite often the mastering house or the mastering engineer will actually stamp or even scribble their initial or names. And if you look on the photo, you'll see that it says TMLS, which is the mastering lab, and it means it was cut on their secondary lathe. And slightly odd is that on the B side, it's actually stamped Townhouse. So it wasn't mastered in sterling, and it was mastered in 2 different places. So you know, the LPs you get, you know, who knows where they've been mastered, but at least now you can find out if you want to have a look in the dead wax area. So that's hopefully going in the next 2 weeks. I'm having quite a few one-to-ones with a guy who's a real specialist in academic writing, and he's really been helping me to up my game on that. So yeah, hopefully that will be a good result with that one. The electives that we do, I did lyric writing, and the other one is adventures in experimental music. Now, most people, when they hear about experimental music, have images of music concrete, and that's exactly, you know, what my thoughts are. Now, I'm not interested in that. I like taking elements of it, because, for example, Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, who as you know, I'm a real fan of, they had a track called Stand Low, which is all about the oil refinery that's there, and they started off with this recorded pump sound that had been pitched down, and it had this really nice sort of underlying rhythm, and it fades away in the song and then comes back at the end to a big climax. So I'm interested in that type of manipulating sounds, and that was one of the options. Now, my normal method of writing music will be to get the lyrics from Jill, or now that I can start doing them myself, I'll be doing some. So I'd sit down at the piano, come up with a melody, maybe some chords, and then go into the computer with the digital audio workstation to develop the song from there. But they were trying to encourage, as during this particular module, was to try a different method of composing. And so I thought, great, let's try it. And I decided to use 2 audio samples. One was Toby, my eldest boy, asking his daughter Evie to sing Happy New Year. And the other sample I chose was a coffee machine that somebody had submitted to a web page in our Discord group that was to encourage us to use sound samples to create music. So this was very coincidental for the module I was on. And what I did is I took the sample of Toby and Evie, and I could, obviously Evie was singing in it, which you'll hear at the end of the blog. I'll play the samples. But Toby, when he was going like 1, 2, 3, I could hear some pitches in there. So I put it into my digital audio workstation and analysed and converted the audio into what we call MIDI, which is basically notes and velocities and other information, which I won't bore you with. So that gave me some pitches, and it just so happened that when I put them into a thing called Scalar 2, it analysed the 2 elements, and it found that it was in 2 different keys. So I obviously chose those keys and decided to use just the notes that they were singing as a limitation for this writing this music. And the other thing was that I saw is that when I saw the sample of Toby and Evie and I reversed it, you'll see on screen now is that the actual waveform, and I could see that as it started to build, that would be like my intro, and then there was a first bit of activity, that was going to be my A section, then it drops down into a break, and then builds to a much bigger section, which was going to be my main section, and then there's an A section at the end, and I then decided to do a little add-on, a little fade out at the end. So the structure really came from looking at the waveform. Again, a different way of approaching how to write music, which is what they're trying to get us to achieve during this module. So for each of those A sections and the B sections, they were the 2 different audio to MIDI notes that I talked about earlier. And then I decided to create a complete drum percussion set from the coffee sample. And I did that using spectral layers by analysing each layer I run it through various processes, which I'll put up as the music plays out. I'll show you them for those that are interested in what I run them through. And I stretched the sample 25 times, which produced some really interesting textures, but also gave me a time of about 4:51, and that was another limitation, was to write the piece of music so that it coincided with that amount of time. So really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I submitted the work, and the tutor was really pleased with my approach. I was given a merit, but that doesn't count. You know, it's the next one, which what you're going to hear now is, I don't think that's going to change very much. I've got one final review this week of it, but otherwise I think that's it. So and then when I come to write the next blog, you know, I'm going to be into the final major project, where it's like, where is it all gone? It's just suddenly we're here. So I've already decided I'm going to, it is going to be autobiographical. It's going to be called Dare to Dream, and I'm actually structuring it on Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here album, which, if you're not familiar with it, it starts off with the track Shine On You Crazy Diamond, which is a mixture of instrumentals and a song, and then it goes into 3 separate tracks in the middle, and then Shine On You Crazy Diamond starts again to finalise the album, and again that's a mixture of instrumentals, a song, and fades out with an instrumental. And that's really how I'm going to structure Dare to Dream. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that. I've got because it's autobiographical, it would be a bit weird possibly, you know, having a female singing this. So I've got 2 friends who have agreed they're going to do the vocals, which is brilliant. So again, you know, really looking forward to that. So I'm going to play you out now with the 2 samples, Toby asking Evie to sing Happy New Year, the coffee machine, and what you hear after that is made just entirely from those 2 samples. So I hope you like it. If you do, please drop me a line in the comments. If you don't like it, please drop me a line in the comments and tell me why. I'd really appreciate it. And until the next vlog, thanks for watching.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
And Happy New Year!
Take your hands and say Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!